Like, why in the hell this girl on here with her eyebrows looking like this? But I'm getting ready so I can go to my daughter's orientation. So I'm about to finish these eyebrows. Then I'll get back with you. If you're interested in knowing, according to the title, how much I started off with as a new grad. Alright, so since you're still tuned in, that means you want to know how much I was started off with as a new grad, correct? Alright, so I guess it's important for me to also tell y'all that, and well, you know if you watch my CNA to RN video, that I once was a CNA. So to know where I came from to where I ended up, that was pretty grand for me. So starting off at my CNA pay, I remember getting started off at like $10.80, $11 an hour to work the day shift in the medical center as a, what we call a PCA. So I went from that, working as that for a little bit, going to nursing school, and then finally landing my job as a registered nurse, as a graduate nurse. And I was offered a different amount per hour. So we'll get to that. All right, so I also want to let you know that before I actually finished my program, of course, I had some raises along the way as a CNA. So my CNA in salary before I actually became an actual RN, I ended up finishing off like at I think it was around $14 an hour. Now keep in mind that's the day shift. Anytime you work after 3 o'clock, there was an additional, I believe like $1.25 or something like that. Hold on, it's my daughter.
Let me in the camera.
Okay, y'all. So this is my twin. This is also known as little Miss Tia.
No.
Come on, cause my
Anyways,
my room.
Oh yeah, right.
All right, y'all. So, but with that particular, okay. So with that being said, I went all the way up to like 14. That's with the day shift. So again, at night, anything you work after 3 o'clock, that was like an extra dollar something. The weekend, I think that was also a shift differential. Yeah. So that's why I ended off there. Then I was offered to start working right when I finished my program, and what you can work with your GN permit for like 3 months. And if you work with your permit and you take the NCLEX, you must pass it, because if you take the NCLEX and you don't pass, then it takes away your opportunity to work as that graduate nurse without passing the NCLEX. So if that sounds confusing, then just know that if you have up to 3 months to take your NCLEX before you need to actually pass it to start working. I wanted to actually pass it, finish it before, because I didn't want that hanging over my head that I needed to pass it, all while trying to learn how to be a new nurse. All right. So the hospital that I worked for in the Texas Medical Center at the time, they actually started me off at $27 an hour. Now, keep in mind, this particular company offer benefits. They offer they offer so much. So sometimes you might have companies out there that start off with more, but they probably don't do the bonus and all this other stuff. And this company that I work for, we get quarterly bonus. We get bonus like every three to 4 months, and this has been since all the years I've been there, So they started me off at 27, and that was only for like 1 or 2 months. Then I turned around and got like a raise, and it was a pretty decent raise. And that raise was pretty much a market analysis, and that's when they look at the surrounding hospitals and see like what were they starting the other nurses off with, and pretty much in that area, like, how much are these nurses making, and then they adjust the salaries accordingly or whatever. So it was only maybe 2 months that I was pretty much left at making that amount. Then I began to soar from that point. And I'm saying this to say that it depends. And I started like on a step down unit from an ICU. It was a post-operative unit. So they, if you're working in an ICU, that could probably be different. If you're working in a nursing home, I must say, 6 months after working as a nurse, I applied for a job at a nursing home. And with that one, they were offering me like $26 an hour. And that was if you was an ADN or a BSN. It didn't matter. And the LVNs were, I think they were getting like 22 at that home health agency. And this was with a home health agency that was, working with kids, with trachs, ventilators, all this other stuff. So at that point, that was like 6 months into me being a nurse. It was definitely a pay cut because, like I said, I had started off with that 27, then 2 months later, I got the market analysis, and then I turned around and got a pay raise because I was already working there prior to becoming a nurse as a CNA or PCA, and it was already time for me to get my evaluation done. So when I got that evaluation, because it was owed to me, it just basically increased my salary that I was making as a nurse. Now, I say all this to say that I just started cascading along from that point. I became an RN2, which was like a leap that was extra. I had about 2 to 3 market analysis raises since then. That's not including the regular raises. So I have jumped tremendously within this 4-year time frame. And so I refrain from giving what I make now because being at a hospital where I'm at and the way they work might be different from how other hospitals work. I know a lot of hospitals in the surrounding areas that don't give raises. They don't give, they don't give them generously and they don't give them frequently, such as with the company I'm with. And they also don't give bonus. So even the bonus help make up for, supplementing how much you get yearly or whatever. So overall, there are a lot of things that are factored into it. So sometimes you can look up on Google and PayNet or whatever you want to look, payscale.com, and it doesn't really it doesn't explain how much a nurse makes. Okay, so where I'm at now, as far as I'm still at the hospital, but I was looking into applying at the home health, and as of now, with 4 years of experience, I was looking for something PRN, just kind of, if I don't want to do my hospital on my off days, if I just kind of wanted to do something that was just, seeing one patient or whatever for 12 hours or whatever. I was offered, I want to say they told me, I would say maybe it was like $35 an hour, if I'm not mistaken, which is way lower. And I even told them, I was like, oh no, that's like settling. I can't do it. Because if I'm going to do anything part-time, it needs to be like something more than what I'm making now. When you think of PRN, you think of more than what you're making. So that's why most of the time I just pick up extra at my job because it's time and a half. So I pretty much kind of treat my full-time as a full and part-time, if you know what I mean. If I want to work an extra day or two, it's more of time and a half, and I feel like it's worth more for me. Now, however, there was also another agency that I was hired with, and this is one where I would go to different hospitals, not in the home setting, in the hospital setting. And this particular company offered me, I believe it was 43 or 44 an hour. And that was, I was expecting more, but just to put it out there, if you want me to throw some numbers out there, and these are realistic numbers, and I'm in the state of Texas. So if you're in Texas, these are the numbers. I've had some friends who, when we graduated, they were offered lower starting amounts, like at some of the LTACs. Some of the nearby hospitals was offering less. Some was offering more, so when you compare my hospital to some of the hospitals that were actually giving them maybe $1 more, maybe $1 or $2 more, So trying to think of what else. Also, just keep in mind with the numbers, okay, with the GN salary, like I said, it is what it is. Where I'm at now, and the numbers that were thrown out is because I only have 4 years of experience. You take a 10-year nurse, you take a 7-year nurse, or whatever year nurse, or you take a nurse with some ICU, ER, home health, whatever experience. If you can run trachs, I mean, you could work trachs, you can run vents, you can do this and that. You have your ACLS, your PALS, your this and that. The grade might, I mean, the pay rate might be a little higher. PRE. But anyways, I'm not going to drag this out any longer. If you got more questions, drop them down below. As always, subscribe. Because your girl T will keep it real. I have to go take my daughter, as you've seen, to her orientation. So we won't be late. But if you're rocking with your girl Nurse T, again, click that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell so you can get a notification every time I make a post. And as always, stop by again.